Hey, how's it going? I got a video going out to utilise, I hope I said that right. He's been asking me for about a month to show how to use the memo feature on the Denon D4500. Now, here's a little bit about the memo feature. You can do 1,000 memos in the Denon D4500. You can only do one memo per track though, so make that memo count. If you've got a CD with 20 songs on it, you can do up to 20 memos on that CD. When your memo bank's full, it'll tell you it's full. You got to go back and delete something to do more memos. But when you're building sets, it's kind of a cool thing to do. You can set your pitch, you can set loops, and you can set cue points. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you how to do all of these things in this video, and then show you how to save it in a memo. If you have any more questions on the D4500, ask them now. It's let's see, it's November 7th, 2007. It's Wednesday night. I'm going to take this rack and put it in my truck and go do a gig with it on Saturday at Hot Water. So ask me questions on this unit before then. So it's down here. It's kind of heavy to lug around. Ask me now and I'll do my best to do a video on any gear I have in my rack. So anyhow, without further ado, here's our Denon video. Enjoy. I'm going to take you guys back in time a little bit to 1991. Prince of the MPG with the Get Off Maxi single. There's a track on here called Get Off. Flute-instrumental, I believe it's called. Kind of an instrumental with a bit of a flute feel to it. We're going to play with that track today. It's track number 4. There's an intro on this track, a vocal intro, with a little bit of this going on here and there. What I want to do is I want to skip this intro. As soon as we kick in on the one with our drums, that's where I want to establish my cue point. The way I'm going to do that is by pressing play and pause. Watch. Okay, I pressed play, the play pause button one time to stop it, and then again to start it up again. It established a cue point. Listen. That's not a very good cue point because I didn't hit it on the 1. So I can take my jog wheel and I can bring it back. The first sign of the beat, hear that? Hit the cue button again. Now we've established a cue point on the 1. Check it out. Now that we know how to cue, let's learn how to loop. We're going to be using these 5 buttons up here, as well as our jog wheel. This first button says flip and trim. This is what we're going to use to trim the end of our loops to make them perfect. This A1 button is the button we're going to press to establish the starting point of our loops. We're also going to use this button to ultimately save our first loop. A2 button is exactly the same except for our second loop. We're going to establish where our second loop starts by hitting this button one time. After we've got it perfect, we're going to hit this button again to save our loop. Here's the B button. The B button is going to establish where we end our loops. And we're going to be able to trim the end with the trim button. Then we have the exit/reloop button. This button is to exit the loop while we're in the mix. Make it go as many times as we want. We hit this button and we get out of that loop. Let's do our first loop. We've established our cue point, which is right here. Let's loop that. All we have to do is press this A1 button. And press this B button when we want to get out of the loop. Right there. Now listen. Is that perfect? Let's hit the flip button and trim it a bit. That's too much. See, we brought it out too far. Listen. Gotta bring it back. What do you think of that? About right there? I'm gonna call that loop 1. If we want to call this loop 1, all we have to do is press this button right here. It'll complete this loop. And then we'll do a second loop. Check it out, watch. We've completed the loop, now let's exit the loop. Move on with the song. Here's our second loop. Let's trim it. And bring it back a little bit. How about there? You like that? Hit this button. The loop is complete. Now, let's play with this pitch control a little bit. When this light is green, it's a regular pitch control. It goes fast, or it goes slow. Press this button again, the light turns orange. This is key adjust. Now, what this does is it allows us to change the speed of the song without making them sound like chipmunks. Watch. Or down. The key stays the same. It doesn't go out of key. Hit the button one more time. The pitch control's off. So let's do this. Let's do a key adjusted pitch at +2. Right there, it shows us we're at +2. Exactly. Now let's save it all. All we have to do to save all of this is create a memo. The way you create a memo is you tap this button that says memo. Don't press it and hold it down. If you do that, you go into preset menus. You don't want to do that. Just tap it one time and it says memo set. Do you want the memo? This button right here, press it one time. Complete. We've just created a memo. All of this is saved. So let's do this. Let's eject the disk. Okay, now let's put the disk in the other deck. I got to move the tripod. Let's put it over here. Now watch what happens. This memo light's flashing. That means that it knows that this disk has a memo on it somewhere. Well, we know there's a memo on track 4. So we go to track 4. We hit the memo button. It says memo call. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Press the button. It's loading the memo right now. When it's loading, it'll tell us it's complete. We loaded quite a bit in there, so it'll take a second. There it is. We can still adjust our pitch wherever we want, and it will adjust accordingly. But see, we're on 0 right here. If I hit the memo button, it's loading. This will go to +2 without me touching this. See? Pretty cool. You can set your tweaks and save them. So there's a video for you on the Denon D&D 4500. It's a really nice CD player. If you're looking for something like this, a 19-inch rack mountable dual CD player, I would definitely look into this one. It's a nice solid unit. If you have any more questions on this unit, please feel free to ask, and just throw a comment right down here. Don't forget to rate, don't forget to comment. Thanks for watching, practice, and enjoy.